What we'll do today, since I've been asked to address you, I'll do a very short one. How much time do I have?
You decide what your mind.
So let's not bore you too much. It shouldn't be more than half an hour. Totality. And I would expect all of you to please, I think in your kit you have a notepad? No? Can you pass around a piece of paper to all of them? Just note down whatever you may feel, however wild it may be, to ask me. Some of you would have come after engineering, some of you might have come after commerce stream, some of you might be a graduation stream, and some of you may already be working. You would have left your work to come here with various aspirations that after you go out, I can assure you Mr. Bansal will assure that you get an employment. I mean, I think his records are 100% here. So that you will get, but whether that synergizes with what you expect is something that we need to talk about. And I was talking to some of your parents downstairs, and I told them to keep their hands off you for this period, so that you give them the full freedom to. But remember one thing, there is no growing up without the parents' blessings. There is no growing up with being in touch with them. And there is no growing up without recognizing their contribution to your life. So that's very important. Wherever you are, whenever you are, however you are doing, please remember to keep in touch with them. Today it's become very easy. When I was a student, or maybe even a school student, I remember I was in a Jesuit school, and we were asked to, in the hostel, there was a letter writing day on Sundays. So Sunday after breakfast, you were compulsorily asked to write a letter to your parents. And once you've written the letter and sealed it off and given it to the father who stood there in the supervising the letter writing session, you were given a bag full of toffees. Chocolates were not so easy in our country in those days. So that was the incentive. You've written a letter, you get some toffees. Now you are not at that age group, and today is not that area of letter writing. But today you have WhatsApp, you have other modes of communication. So therefore do send in WhatsApp every day. Even if it is just a good night at the time of going to bed, say good night. So they are connected with you. So that is on the parent side. Now what I am trying to do here is, by putting this slide, is trying to sort of restrain my discussion with you within the time frame. Otherwise it can just keep on going. And then probably have a few of you to ask me a few questions. Now let's see what I put. And this is not mine, it's inspired by the acknowledgement is given there. This is a business enterprise. This is where you want to enter. So when you enter the business enterprise, what happens? You must understand what happens when you enter a business enterprise, to really understand the whole thing as to how it works and what is expected of you. Many of you have various kind of thoughts in the process. Well, let's say in the center of it we have your business enterprise. What you need to, I don't know, can you read this, or it is too small at the back, isn't it? Huh? Okay. I'll try and, this is not sacrosanct, but I'll just try and read a few. In life, please try and understand, there is always an inspiration. You are inspired by something. But the detailing of the inspiration is always yours. Because nobody knows more than you do as to how your enterprise works or what is good for the enterprise. If you see the biggest consultant, they derive their paper out of interviews or discussions with the senior management, with the middle management, with the junior management. So what they write there, rightly after you read the report, sometimes you feel, ये तो हमें सब पता था, क्या लिख रहा है? That is the thought. But पता तो था, but we never put it down to analyze as to what's happened. This book that you were just introduced to, this is available in Amazon. This book that you were just introduced to just does that with my life. When I went through life, what happened? What situations I faced? And how does that correlate with a learning which may be relevant to some of you who are trying to go through the same path. So which means you don't reinvent the wheel in many ways. And you know exactly this situation happened and this is what was done at that time. But that doesn't mean there is one size fit all. It doesn't mean that I must do what is written in the book. In your situation, what would be the ideal thing? So this one I put in, and I think I leave the slide back so that copies can be given to all of you. I'll go near that and explain to you. Go ahead, pointer. This is your company. Pointer has it. Pointer. In the middle we have the company, you know, and that is your business enterprise, if you call it so. So we have your company, which is a business enterprise. It's actually interfacing with the wider society, the stakeholders, and the business as such. And then, why I put so many things on, why I appreciate what is put in by Professor Zappels is that, you know, it talks of sustainable development, it talks of product value, talks of job, talks of fair trade, talks of model standards. Today's world, believe me, is not only input, process and output. You can't think that I put in so much. This is the process to go through and that will be the output. And this will be output minus input will be my profits. It's really not that. It's much, much more complicated than that. The environment is extremely important, and what affects the company is ultimately before you interact with your business, is how do you do sustainable development, how do you do waste control, how do you control the emissions of the company if you are in an industry which has emissions, how do you efficiently use your energy. There are a lot of talk on solar energy, there are a lot of talk about other forms of energy. It's a different subject which we can take up on session. What is your product life cycle and how does it affect the environment and the social issues? That's extremely important. And then, you know, how do you do like volunteering and how do you do educational development and how do you do equal opportunities? Now what happens is, I'll give an example. All my examples will be unfortunately closer to home for me. When we do a thermal power project, there's a huge society which lives outside. Believe me, these people, anybody from a background of a power project, let me tell you, even if you are not, it doesn't matter. If you go to a thermal power project, mostly these are back of beyond. And when you go there, you will find from a few kilometers a shining lighted complex. But until you enter the gate, it is all dark. So the people who are living around the project are living in darkness. When you go and construct that project, you acquire the land from the villages who are now in darkness. Why they are in darkness? It's a different subject. And next visit, if you guys are interested, we can do all that. Now, they are in darkness. They have sold their land. This project may be 25 years old, 20 years old. Say they have sold their land as X amount of rupees. Today the cost of land is 100X. So they always feel, oh, we lost out. But that time X was big amount. Their grandfather got X. He squandered the money, how he spent the money. But these guys are poor again. So how do you engage them as a volunteer into a continuous process? How do you give them equal opportunities? So I'll tell you an example. I went to a place called Back of Beyond in Jharkhand in a coal mine. And we were sitting there addressing the people. And I didn't realize we were served tea. I was sitting like this on a dais and all the villagers were sitting talking to us, telling me about their problems. And then then I said, okay, now I want to listen to you guys. One of them is there. And I said, yeah, bolo. Bola, sahab, aapko jo chai pilaya, आपने देखा वो एक मद्रासी है। मैंने कहा क्या बोल रहे हो? कहता साहब झारखंड में आपको चाय पिलाने वाला नहीं मिला। Understand the sentiment. Why was he a Madrasi? Because NTPC as a corporate policy outsources F&B to India Coffee House, ICH. Therefore, policy is good. There's a standard food, standard menu, standard cleanliness, standard hygiene. Everybody knows what to get. People come well dressed, they serve you. Naturally, when I had gone back or beyond, they sent this thing. But you must understand, they ask for equal opportunities. Why can't they serve? Sorry, I press something. क्या होगा? आ गया. So they say, where is our opportunity? Then things like that. There are issues like this which ultimately affects your company. And when it affects your company, you actually classify them in a smaller role, which actually touches the community, the employee, the customer. After all, when you are going into a company, if I say in a sweeping statement, it is all about environmental management. Don't get into the narrow aspect of carbon dioxide emission. You are managing the total environment. You are managing your internal environment, which are your own employees. You are managing the service provider, which may be the jamadar, the jhadu wala, the cleanliness wala, the lift operator, the pump operator, and what have you. You are managing your own staff, the administration staff, the engineering staff, the one who are working on the shop floor, the guys who are doing a 12-hour shift, the guys who need a proper shift management, rest, physical needs. Then you are managing your own bosses. Believe me, boss management is extremely important. And remember one thing, and I keep telling all children I meet, boss is always right. Please. This is one person who has a choice of selecting the subordinate. You have no choice of selecting your boss. You better understand the boss is always right. You better understand how to manage your boss. You better understand what are his idiosyncrasies, if I might say, and try and align yourself with that. I've written a little bit about that in this book. You can read that. But try and synergize yourself with your boss. Every boss is an individual. He may be a tyrant on the shop floor, but he may be a very good, nice human being when he goes and sits in his office. When you do a good job, he will tell you, "Aaja beta, chai peete hain." At that moment is your moment of strength. When you tell him or her, "The boss, ये जो इंसिडेंट हुआ शॉप फ्लोर पे, don't you think it could have been done in a different way?" Just look at his reaction or her reaction. In the face you can understand whether you can push the pedal a little more. If you can't, leave it at that. He will reflect upon it. So boss management is extremely important. Boss is always right. Very important dictum to write on your wall. Like some of us write on our wall in the drawing room entry, "I am the boss of the house." And below that we write, "I have my wife's permission to say so." So that's very important. So boss is always right, please remember that. So you come here in this circle, you will come in wealth generation. You all would have heard the ultimate goal of the company of generating wealth. Not so. Not in today's environment. The wealth generation should be a byproduct of so many things. So we were talking about the environmental management. एक बोलते पानी दे देना बेटा यहाँ पे. It is there. जरा इसको खोल. You maybe think of हाँ एक खोल के दे दो. You may think of the environment in so many ways. If you look at CO2, yes, plantation of trees, recycling, maybe putting scrubbers, all that is CO2. Or SOx, NOx, that's one environment. But your employees, the people who directly live around your projects, are your environment. The equal opportunities of people who feel deprived because of your activity is an environment. Your boss is an environment, disrupted that. The ministry or the policy makers are environments. I'm not saying that once you enter a company you have to go to all that level, but yes, you will gradually go to all that level. The policy maker, the government is an environment. You will have to manage that also. Ultimately, the buyer of your product. There is no product which we make unless you have a buyer. If you manufacture laddu, then laddu has a shelf life for 24 hours. If you don't sell it within 24 hours, your business model is zero. So that also is an environment, how to manage that your product gets sold or picked up in the market. So therefore, we talked of opportunities, environment, anti-social products, advertisement, human reaction, then moral standards and fair practices. I don't know how many of you are from schools where moral science was a subject. I am from one of those. We had a subject called moral science, and rigorously we were taught once in a week we had a class. Believe it, it looked all bekar for us at that time. क्या कर रहे हैं? Why are we sitting in this class? ये पादरी क्या बोल रहा है? But today, when you reflect what he taught us, he taught us something which is went into our system. Some of us who go to institutions, mandir, sadhu, sant, and listen to pravachan, it is also something like moral science. It sort of improves your sanskar. And then when it improves your sanskar, you get to do what is known as a sankalp. My Guruji taught me, sankalp shuddha hi siddh. If you have a sankalp, which is shuddha, which is pure, it has to become successful. Shuddha, siddh, two words. Now how do you get a shuddha sankalp? What is your sanskar? Call it moral, call it learning. You want to murder your competitor who is number one in your class so that you become number one. Is that a Shuddha sanskar? It's not. You cannot get it if your sanskar was right, you can't think. You would rather work hard to defeat it or her. So therefore, you must look at all this. Then there are people like your suppliers, your community. Why did I say fair practices? Why did I say moral standards? Why did I say ethics? Because there is always a temptation in that. There is always a little more that we want. No? At one time in our country, getting Scotch whiskey was very difficult. You got hold of one, you were happy. Then it came to black label. You got a black label, my God. तुम रेड नहीं पीते हो, ब्लैक पीते हो. अब आज क्या हाल है? आज क्या हाल है? अरे तुम्हारे पास सिंगल मॉल्ट नहीं है? ये क्या ब्लैक लेबल पिलाते हो यार? ये तो नहीं पीते, ये तो स्पूरियस. So the level of why
You said that.
1 minute, one at a time. Okay.
So you said that wealth maximization is not important all the time.
Yeah.
Then
For any company
without wealth maximization, how it is possible to proceed further?
You understand what is maximization and what is wealth creation? थोड़ा इसका डिफरेंस देख लेना. Wealth creation and wealth maximization. ठीक है ना? हाँ? Wealth creation क्या है? You are selling pakode in the market. Okay? And you are making a reasonable 15% profit because all ingredients are fresh, everything is good. The customer comes back to you tomorrow. So you keep on making 15% profit, or maybe you make 18 a month or 3 months later. What is this? You sold it for double the price and the fellow next day doesn't even visit you.
That we have to keep this in mind that the boss is always right. So if we are doing a job and we know that the job that our boss is saying something which is against the ethics, so should we do it, or because?
See, again I'll tell you, ethics is a very subjective matter. Huh? You guys are young. How you understand ethics is also related to मैं चोरी नहीं बोलूँगा. I'm not saying bribery. Huh? Ethics is whether this work is right. Now there is a corporate policy. Okay. And there is a vision and a mission statement of the company. Now whether that fits into that ethics of the vision and the mission statement and is going contrary to that is only when you are vitiating on the ethics. Okay? Then at that time in front of others you can't disagree. But you tell boss that sir ये vision and mission में ये लिखा है. जब हम ये कर रहे हैं, where does it fit in? Not saying that it doesn't fit in. Where does it fit in? I had this question. Got my point?